Hello everybody, Luke and Sandy here, and what we're doing today are common questions that we usually get for people interested in our massage therapy school, Health Enrichment Center, and about entering a massage program or school in general.
Yep, and also the massage profession as well. And so we actually are using some questions that a prospective student sent us.
Exactly, and we thought they were so good that it might be prudent to just put these answers out there, because it's really basically by rote everything that we have to say anyway to everybody. So we thought, just let's record it and then you can watch the recording. So okay, first question. What skills are required to be a massage therapist, and are there any physical demands necessary for this field?
Okay, I'll answer first and then you can chime in. So in most states you have to graduate from a massage therapy program that's licensed by the state of Michigan, or state of Michigan, that's our state, but licensed by the state, and meets the criteria to sit for the MBLEX exam, which is the Massage and Bodywork Licensing exam. Most states use that for their license exam. The program hours are 625, based on something called ELAP, or the Entry Level Analysis Project, which gives a baseline for the educational entry-level education for massage therapy.
Standardized is what?
Right. And if you're, of course, we follow that. We write the textbooks. Let's show the textbooks.
Voila.
Yay! All right. And they follow the ELAP guidelines and expand on them, as well as the content for the MBLEX exam.
So then this might be a question for a student to consider if they're looking at other schools.
That's right.
Is, do they follow ELAP, and are there books, is the information that you're going to be reading and using as a student, does it fit ELAP? Because that means it's going to prepare you for passing the licensing exam,
Right.
which is what you really need at the end in order to practice.
Yeah, your
So-
textbooks should provide all the information you need to pass the MBLEX exam. If they are academically produced, current, no older than 5 years, maybe 6 years old, not self-published, unfortunately,
Okay,
because you
some
don't.
peer review kind of
Yeah.
constructs. Yes.
Yeah, and even if you're in a program that is not very good, if you rely on the textbooks to be your teacher, you should still pass the licensing exam.
And then maybe you can go get some continuing education and build your
Right.
skill set.
So-
Which leads us to, so that's one consideration if you're looking at other programs. One, it's us saying we follow ELAP, make
Yeah.
sure we're up to date in all of the requirements so that we can best facilitate people getting licensed. And then the physical demand
Yes.
dynamic.
So, if you are using effective body mechanics, and you are taught to be efficient with the massage, you should be able to do massage therapy, because it's not necessarily reliant on strength.
This is saying varying from the height, size, and age of a person. If they use their body effectively, most people, the vast majority, we have not experienced too many true limitations, either through physical capacity or strength,
Right, and or stamina.
stamina, which all kind of fall into that. But regardless of how tiny, large, young, old you might be, if you use good mechanics so that you're leaning and using your body weight. Now, the challenge is that that information is sorely lacking in our profession. So we specialize if anything, really in that, channeling how to use good biomechanics as well as the therapeutic
That's right.
idea of massage. But if your program does not teach good biomechanics, this channel and us in general are we're trying to put that information in particular out there for everybody. So learn how to use your body efficiently.
And we do have on the YouTube channel,
Yeah.
we do have some clips related specifically to biomechanics. And so that is something that, just like Luke said, unfortunately is poorly taught because there isn't any research information available. However, there has been a preliminary study done now by the Massage Therapy Foundation. Happened to be on that committee, and the preliminary data that came back supports what we teach. So that's very confirming. So,
And some, go ahead.
no, I was going to say, now there are some challenges that people have. If you are, in my experience, 35 years of this school, people who are very tall tend to have trouble trying to find themselves and be comfortable. They try to hunch over. Table has to be able to get to a sufficient height for that.
But we've also heard people be concerned because they're a very small stature.
Yes.
And same principle, learning how to, there are adaptations for all people. Another thing to keep in mind, it's a question of coming into the field, how much are you preparing to work in this field? Some people are using it as a cross training,
Right.
where they're going to do massage part-time. And that's different than being able to do massage full-time. We make sure you have the ability to work full-time, and we try to be honest with people regarding what that looks like.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that in another question.
Exactly, but that's another thing to consider in relation to the physical demands.
That's right. Now, there's, oh, I interrupted you.
Well, no, Al, it's a but that's something I sometimes ask myself. If it's a person that's already a PTA,
Right.
or an esthetician, or they're even planning on phasing into that, or maybe this is something that they're just doing later in life and working out of a home office. But if you're going to, part of the question, I may know it's going to come up, but it related to physical demands, what would working full-time as a massage therapist look like? How many sessions?
Okay.
If it's a 40-hour work week, how many massages would that probably be?
So I'm going to back up and say, if you have physical mobility issues, for example, if you have some balance, significant balance issues, if you have spatial orientation issues, if you have some weakening on one side of the body or other, could be from a stroke, could be from cerebral palsy, those kinds of things. That should not necessarily limit you from performing massage, but you're going to have to find somebody who can work with you with the right adaptation for it. Okay, so that leads right into your question on stamina, basically. So full-time in our society is 40-hour work week. That's the standard that's out there. Your wage rates and all that kind of stuff from the Department of Labor are all based on that, Bureau of Labor Statistics. Massage therapists do not do 40 table hours, 40 hours of actually doing massage in a 40-hour work week. Typically, what the massage therapist does is about 5 hours of actual massage a day within that 8-hour day. And then that would include time for a meal break and a couple of rest breaks in between, and still have time to do your table turnover, your charting and documentation, And so that's what an 8-hour day would look like.
So maybe 25, maybe at the most 30 massages?
At the most 30. 25 is right there.
But that's kind of where we're just getting people's minds.
Right. Now, if you are self-employed, where you've got to do all the business stuff and you've got to do all the table turnover by yourself, and you don't have any support from a desk staff at all, you got to do everything, then you're probably only going to be able to do 20 hours. Now, that's not 20 sessions, that's 20 hours. So if you have a 90-minute and then 30-minute and then 2 60 minutes, that's kind of how that wraps itself around. Most massage therapists don't work like that. They don't do 5 a day, 5 days a week, or 6 a day, 4 days. Most don't do that. Most massage therapists work half to 3/4 time.
And we'll touch on the subject a little bit more in a moment, but the greatest confusion in our field is the understanding of what a week looks like and how much you're making per hour for all of that time.
That's
because
right.
we've heard other schools and teachers tell prospective students that they're going to make $50, $60 an hour.
No.
And that's not the case. That's how much the massage session might cost. But even if you are independently providing that, you are having to take time to do your linens, your cleaning, maybe operate your scheduling software, all this other stuff. So the mindset has to be much clearer, more realistic in terms of what the charging is, which we'll get into further, and what an actual work week could potentially be.
Well, and that's why if we look at how much a massage therapist makes per year, if you look at Bureau of Labor Statistics or the American Massage Therapy Association annual report, you're going to see it hovers in the mid-20s, at 25,000 to 30,000.
Now that's averaged out.
That's averaged out, and it's reflective of mostly part-time work.
Most
not
massage
full-time.
therapists work more part-time or 3/4 time.
Yep.
And to be clear, if you are hearing other practitioners speak in terms of how much they're making and what they're charging, think in the context of maybe where they are working. If they are working in downtown New York,
Right.
or in Miami, or LA, San Francisco, these big industrial, urban, not industrial, but affluent urban.
Yes.
The cost of living and everything, it can be double. So $50 a session here in a smaller town in Michigan would more likely equate to $100 a session somewhere else. So think critically
Yes.
in terms of what the information is out there, because people get really confused
Oh,
about
yeah.
this.
Oh, yeah.
So this feeds into, we've kind of already elaborated on it. The second question is just what advice would you give somebody that's thinking about becoming a massage therapist?
Well, we have started that, haven't we?
Right.
Be realistic.
Think critically, be realistic. You can't, this is not a financially rich kind of occupation. You can make good money for your time.
Yes.
But just graduating out of vocational school and getting out into the field, you're going to, if you stick with it and you make yourself excellent,
Yes.
you build your skill set so you can help people with more complex issues, whether they be movement-based or chronic pain-based. But that, building out that skill set takes a while. That can take a couple additional years. Building up a solid clientele can take a couple of years. You have to figure out what environments you want to work more in. Are you more inclined towards the spa wellness environment, the medical? Do you want more of an independent practice where you're working out of a rented space or a home office? So you can do well, but you have to be vested in the fact that it's a positive atmosphere about making people feel better. It's a professional pathway where you have pretty good control over what your schedule might look like. You have a lot of ability to dictate what environments. You have multiple environments that you can work in.
Well, and you can work autonomously. I just talked to, I talked to a lot of physical therapy assistants, which is a 2-year associate's health.
Or athletic trainers.
Yes, and they can't operate outside that environment. And so with massage therapy, we can do that. It's called autonomous practice. You can have your own business and not have to be connected with, like in the medical community, a prescription exchange or something like that. That's one of our strengths. And that's within the wellness, health enhancement, well-being, quality of life sector where massage has the most to offer. You develop a long-term retention clientele, whether you are an employee or if you are self-employed. Self-employed's good. I've been self-employed my entire 40-year career.
And I waffle back and forth with somewhere between being a kind of independent contractor, we won't go into that one as much. Just know that that's a tough label in our field that doesn't really exist. You'll hear it being used out there, but it's kind of an odd one. But from being fully employed with an organization, salaried, to employed hourly, to independent practice, traveling to people's homes, having people come to me, it gives you a lot of variety.
But
And one other point, just on the positive spectrum, as well, is that if using good body mechanics, it's one in which you are up and moving, and although there's some physical demand, if you use your body efficiently, it actually is a good profession for keeping you healthy.
yes,
If
that's
you
a good point.
So it's a tends to be a positive atmosphere, one in which you have some level of control over your schedule. So there's a lot of other value components outside
Other than
of just
monetary.
yes.
And
So-
we really do help people.
Yes, but you have to be vested in that, the value that you get of having these long-term relationships with clients and helping them just get through life more
Yeah.
efficiently. There's a lot of value to that.
So, and Luke has talked about the idea of honing your skills. Don't fall for the idea that you are going to be in a situation right out of massage school where you're going to walk in and people are going to just be pounding on your door. And this is, I'm pretty firm on this. I recommend strongly that people right out of massage therapy school go into an employee situation. And the franchise system is the strongest employer for that. It's too difficult to perfect and hone your massage therapy skills and your therapeutic relationship skills and try to navigate a business. And the younger you are, the more you need that. And this generation coming into massage are so fortunate that they are able to move into an employee position. And you need to be an excellent employee and not a whiny, grumpy, yucky employee. And you want to work for an excellent employer. And you don't want to, there's a shortage. That's one of our questions. There's a shortage of massage therapists right now. What's the demand?
There's a lot.
There-
So there's employment opportunities just about everywhere. Doesn't matter where you're at, what state you're from. Everybody from the spa franchises, the chiropractors, everybody is looking for massage therapists. But be critical in terms of your environment. Make sure it's a protected environment where you have a team that supports you. Right out of graduation, and she made this point, the best thing you can do for yourself is go out and work regularly.
Yes.
Seeing 10, 15, 20 clients at minimum a week, you have to build up a certain level of efficiency. You're not going to be perfect right out of the
Absolutely
the
not.
get-go. So we usually say you're going to be a competent novice.
Yeah.
coming out initially, but after that, you have the knowledge base and you have the skills, but like anything, practice makes perfect.
And you need to embrace the idea of being a novice. You need to embrace the idea of being a beginner. There is nothing wrong with that. Everybody started with that. And then you work your skill set mostly through experience. You don't have to get caught up in a whole bunch of crazy continuing education either. Now, there's a category of massage therapists within our community that really talk poorly about the franchise structure. And there are good owners and there are bad owners, just like every place else. The franchise structure for the delivery of massage therapy is the most stable place to begin, and you can make an entire career. And the latest AMTA, American Massage Therapy Association statistics that came out and showed income based on the same number of massage hours provided, the employee within a franchise made more than self-employed. And you can see more massage, you do more massage because you're not taking care of everything else. We have a franchise. We employ massage therapists. We are excellent employers. But I'm also not going to be patient and tolerate a whiny, grumpy, won't seek out how to do more and be excellent as part of the team as a massage therapist. I will not tolerate somebody who says, not my job. I'm not going to fold the laundry. I'm a massage therapist after all. What do you mean I need to go change the toilet paper roll? I have no tolerance for that, and no employer should have a tolerance for that. At the same time, no employee should be in a situation where there isn't strong communication back and forth, that the employer doesn't protect you in terms of having good support staff at the desk, and that you are paid fairly, which we'll talk about later. But and with the demand for massage therapists, you should be an excellent employee working for an excellent employer. And if they aren't an excellent employer,
There's plenty of opportunities out there.
Yeah.
You can find one. But asking good questions of your potential employers and getting a clear sense of what the expectations are, how good the communication channels
Yep.
are, is an important component. It should be a positive atmosphere, but that behooves both parties.
Well-
Both parties have to bring something to the table.
you know what I hear the most complaints from an employer? Massage therapists don't show up on time,
And this is critical.
or they don't show up at all.
And now that's a critical component too. This is a field in which people are relying on you, the clients, as well as
Yes.
the employers. So it's one where you have to be aware that although you have flexibility in your schedule, you also need to commit to that schedule
That's
to a certain
right.
extent. We are limited on our ability to make very many excuses and make up the hours elsewhere. It's not the same as like a tech job where maybe you can do it from home
No.
for the day or something like that. So you need to be clear and honest, and if you're going to have a vacation time, something like that, just let people know early on, way in advance. But we covered that. This is just something where
It's a big problem.
advice for people in relation to massage therapy. There's a lot of confusion in terms of what employee versus self-employed, all these kinds of things, what they mean. And she mentioned the financial points as well. Another awareness is that just after first graduating and getting out into the field, you still have a period of time there that you have to refine your skills and get better. And as you get great and you build this retention clientele, you do make more.
Yes.
But you can't think that you're going to make as much starting out as a first-time graduate as you will after working for 30 years. I've been working for 15 years. We've seen more, we have more experience, and our profession and the massage therapy profession, your experience can mean just as much as like having an additional certification
That's
or
right.
an additional degree. So be aware that your time of working counts towards how is going to make you more excellent, and then is also going to make you be able to maybe be more efficient in your clientele base and potentially charge more. But it's just but again, the most frustrating part for me has been the taking advantage of potential students in educators saying that they're going to leap out and be able to demand
Yes.
positions from employers and demand certain like special treatment, and that they're going to be able to charge an exorbitant rate, and that they're going to be very, very easily able to get clients.
Yep.
It's all circumstantial. Some people do get lucky, but it is not right to paint a too rosy picture.
You gotta have good people skills too. You gotta be able to engage in intelligent massage-related conversation with people.
And be aware of certain components there too. So you as a massage therapist or as a prospective massage therapist, you are working a lot with a person very closely, and there is that social component
Yeah.
in play. So if people aren't comfortable with you for whatever reason, there can be certain hurdles. As a young male in this profession, that did create some challenges. I had to be patient with some clients not wanting a male for a variety of reasons.
That's right.
Didn't matter, male or female, they just weren't comfortable with the male. You gotta get over it.
Yep.
Know that that's how it is, and it will be okay. But it can be harder for men, younger men. It can be harder for younger people, because it can be that somebody has a more complex health issue, and it's difficult for them to trust that a younger person has the experience, the knowledge base. There can be a critical lens for women, people of smaller stature, because they don't believe they're strong enough to deliver enough pressure. So the stigma can flip in that some clients don't want a male, some clients don't want a female because of these ideas they have built up in their mind. Know that you have to just be prepared for some of these challenges, and depending on who you are, if you have mannerisms that people find confusing, you have to be prepared. It could be anything from being a fast talker and,
Yeah.
or something. I'm trying to think of something that's pretty vague, but be aware that the stranger you are, or how there is certain stigmas in any of these dynamics, that can present some challenges. It's not something you can't overcome, but be aware that there's a component to this that's about making people feel welcome and comfortable.
And the stranger you behave, the stranger you look from what people consider the norm. Now, you can have purple hair and 16 rings coming out of your nose and the whole thing. I don't care.
Right.
All right. But other people are going to be reactive to that, and it's not right.
It's not right, but
But
you
it
also
is.
have to build up a little bit of a thick skin
Yep.
and be prepared to have that thick skin, because if we are coming into this environment, which is really about offering wellness care to the public, that means offering, there's right or refusal, and people and the client just as much has a choice of saying, nope, I don't feel comfortable with you as a massage
That's
therapist.
right.
And if you want to present yourself a certain way, that's fine, but don't be prepared to be insulted.
Yeah, and it will interfere with how fast you can build your clientele.
It took me, starting out, and it didn't matter what my pedigree was. I had her as the great massage therapy guru, and I started the school, everything. I had all those advantages. Be able to pick her brain, any client that I had that had a complex issue, I had plenty of resources available to me in order to get better as a massage therapist. But it took me post initial graduation, post entry level, building up that skill set and really just sticking with it. It took about 2 years, 2 to 3 years, and then then everything was great. But it took a while to
Yeah.
get there.
And you need to think about being neutral everything,
Yeah.
neutral in appearance, gender neutral, neutral in terms of culture, that you yourself and your personal beliefs and the way you present yourself should not be foremost.
Should not be forced on the client in order for them to be able to
Right.
receive massage. So your spiritual, political beliefs should not be something that you screen people through.
No.
And now they may sometimes challenge you, but we are here to offer wellness care to the public. So professional attire to
The way you smell.
yeah,
You know.
not too many. Essential oils are great, but maybe having too strong a scent on you or in your room.
Or if you have a belief that you don't use soap, there are people that have a belief
Yes.
that you don't bathe with soap. There's gonna be an odor. Or food.
Yeah.
Yesterday I ate smoked fish and garlic spread. It was bad. Bad breath. These are things that you will interfere. They will interfere with your ability to create this therapeutic relationship with people. And when somebody says, well, I'm not successful, I can't get retention, I get people in the first time and then they don't come back. I say, look at you first. Look at how you present, how you make people step back. How are you creating a space where there's comfort? Then look at your massage skills.
And I think that kind of hits the nail on the head in that you as a person considering this field, or if you're already in the field, if you're looking at this in terms of, but I say this is particularly for those that are really trying to make a living,
Yes.
and want to make a living doing this. It's about making as many people as possible comfortable and being able to offer that care to as many people as possible. So you have to be willing to accommodate that. You do, now don't, it's not anything, if something truly irks you and it's part of your ultimate identity, then stick to that, absolutely. But
It will interfere.
it might, but this is something to consider. Probably the biggest hurdle that sometimes people have to get over is being able to modulate their own personal belief systems in the context of working in the public sector.
And then we have to
So-
also talk about the unfortunate and persistent connection of massage therapy with prostitution
Yep.
and or opportunity for sexual misconduct.
Yep.
And that starts with your appearance, it starts with the way you talk, it starts with the boundaries you set, it begins with taking on a professional demeanor. And I know a lot of massage therapists they say they get hot, but they'll wear real short sleeves, or they'll wear clothes that cling, male and female, or a gender continuum in that. It's just not appropriate.
And making sure that the work environment, if you're self-employed, being clear in terms of how that it's presented. There has to be something stated directly in the paperwork. There should be something directly stated even on the website that helps clarify this. If you are seeking an employed position, be sure that they have a formalized
Sexual harassment policy.
policy in terms of how they handle this,
Yep.
so that you as the potential employee need to get that information. Make sure that the employer has that policy so that you know exactly how to protect yourself,
That's right.
and that they are also accountable for screening clients that maybe have
Yeah.
that are the bad apples. So it's a sad component that still does exist. There's a certain stigma, jokes get made, and you got to get a bit of a thick skin there. You also need to give maybe a little bit of the shame eyes that that's not in good taste.
And be very honest with your education and say, that's insulting.
Mhm.
That's insulting to massage therapy. And
It is getting better,
yeah.
but there is sadly still a component of that in our culture that we have to be aware of. So it behooves us to put our best foot forward
Yes.
in continuing our cultural transition of now viewing massage attached to prostitution and being professional, and then also making sure that for our safety too, that the employers have policies that protect us
That's
and
right.
help screen these bad people, so that hopefully in the future it's not as much of a problem.
Right. Now, where are we at with our
Yes,
questions?
we need to keep rocking them.
While he is doing that, I'm going to give you the income statistics. This is real. This isn't the 2% at one end that are telling you that they're making $60, $70, $80, $90, $100,000. The statistics are that full-time massage therapist, based on number of hours of massage that you do, comparison, it doesn't matter if you're an employee or self-employed, when you factor it all out, they make just about the same, whether it's full-time or part-time. There's something called business gross, so that's the fee charged. So if you're charging, just for math's sake, $50 a session, you don't make $50 an hour. First of all, it takes you 2 hours to do a massage session if you're self-employed. So now it's down to $25 an hour. Anyway, if you are an employee, you've got staff around you that helps with that. There's no employer that can pay you what's charged. You know, they're gonna lose half to all the overhead and all that kind of stuff. So you gotta be realistic about this.
You will, realistically, in an employed situation, you are going to be getting less than half
Yes.
of what the massage costs. That's because the front desk person, all the keeping the software going, the website, the internet, all that kind of stuff. But you have to understand that when you see that $50 per session, and you're making between 15 and 20 of that per session,
That's about right.
plus tip, that's what's pretty standard and it's what's fair.
It averages out at about $17 to $18 an hour when you look at everything that's going on with that, and it's just about the same that you get self-employed if you are honest. Take a look at what you pay income tax on and factor all of your hours, not just your massage hours. So it's about, for part-time,